been waiting a few years, Ledge, but you fucking finally come up with one. No?
That's what I knew.
Any questions for us? Okay, so job done, Steve?
Yeah, in a fashion, I look defensively, really strong, aggressive, physical. You know, I think we're looking in really good physical shape, and I thought we did a lot of good things defensively. I think offensively, probably a slightly ill-disciplined performance on the offensive side of things, and what it does do is it gives us a real focus for next week. It actually gives us something to really get our teeth into next week and rectify and hopefully put a full performance together again next week.
Some penalties on the trot against you second half.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying about a little bit of ill-discipline.
Yeah.
That was whilst we was in possession, but obviously in and around the ruck area and a few other bits and pieces. So I think there was an element of bad luck about a couple of penalties in terms of little ricochets and offsides, but yeah, we showed some ill-discipline in certain areas, and like I said, it gives us a real focus for next week to fix up.
Were you disappointed with the errors in the first half, particularly in your environment?
No, I think Jimmy Lowe's in the box come up with a classic line. He said we're trying to play like Arsenal rather than Stoke. We're trying to pass our ball up into the net rather than go route one and get the ball over the try line. And we were creating some nice opportunities, but we were just overplaying and trying to find an extra play at times when it wasn't on. We could have ran the ball and scored rather than trying to pass the ball. So again, it's credit to the group that they still scored as many points as they did, but they all understand that on that side of it there's some work to do. But I'm delighted with them, their approach, their attitude to everything that they're trying to do and trying to achieve. It's not going to be picture perfect every time, and hopefully we can finish the tournament in great style next week.
Does the contrast between the two second halves reflect what you did less well, or the opposition was stronger? Whereas last week you ran away with it, it's got the other way.
Yeah, probably a little bit of both, Andy, to be honest. I think France, they've got certainly better and more experienced individuals than what Wales did have last week. And we just give ourselves a lot of defending to do, which we did it really well. So last week on the scoreboard ran away because offensively we had all the possession. This week the scoreboard could have actually ran the other way if we hadn't defended as well as we did. So actually it has given us an opportunity to do a lot of that. We won't want to be doing that each and every week.
The way Callum Watkins has stepped into the international scene, one of the big positives of the game so far.
Yeah, I think there's lots of positives from it, but the emergence of our young players and the experience that they're gaining, not from just playing but from being around the group as well. I know Callum spends a lot of time around Kevin at his club leagues, but to be around these other experienced players as well and actually learn to have to play with other people and socialise with other people is a big part of it. But he's a cracking young man, he's got an exceptional amount of talent, and hopefully he goes from strength to strength.
Is Ella's tackle any concern?
No, I don't think so. I've looked at it quite extensively, and I don't think it's the initial contact what's hurt, because I think it looks to me like it's whiplash. It looks like he's got a pretty severe whiplash on the back of the contact, and anybody who knows Gareth understands he's not that type of player anyway, and he showed some concern afterwards. He genuinely feels he hasn't committed anything wrong, but obviously people will have a look at that and make their own decision on it. But I think he'll be fine.
What you said about the back, Steve, and aggressive defence and stuff, do you think there's something in the post-peacock here? Do you think also the hill of steps or questions?
Yeah. I mean, they're going to face a standard test, and I think they'll face a standard test again next week. But again, they're showing elements of being able to take our team forward in those departments. We've said it numerous occasions. JP's very big boots to fill, and our front rows are trying to do that. And Kevin's trying to do that in terms of captaincy as well. But they're adapting to it, and the promise that they're showing at this moment in time with another 12 months of Super League under the belts next year. Throw that into the mix with a couple of early stages what are out there and a few people who aren't available this time around, then I think we're going to be pretty strong going forward again for a number of years.
Decent crowd, Kevin, and really got behind you.
Yeah, there's always seems to be a good crowd in Hull. The reception we've had in and around the city. Training here yesterday, and I thought the crowd tonight We're fantastic. But they're really positive throughout the game. I know there's some parts to it that perhaps there are things we could have done better, but I thought they were really positive and it's good to play.
How are you finding the partnership with Richard?
Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's building. I've enjoyed playing with whoever's in there with me or wherever Steve asked me to play. But I think the combination, probably what slipped tonight as we would have liked. There's lots for us to work on. Steve's touched upon the competition for place is really strong, and it really does give us a big focus for next week. We're really positive in the dressing room. There's some things that we will fix up for next week, but like, as Steve said already, we come up against a tough side tonight, and the errors we made really tested our defence, and I think in terms of where we are with that, we've had some good strides again.
Steve, where are we with the overall picture here? Can we go into the final? Obviously, you need to win that game to win the series, but we've had, I believe, South Africa had 2 internationals there in the final. Where would you hope to be next Sunday?
Probably walking away from the ground with probably a bit of a warm glow around the group in terms of achieving what we set out to achieve. We set off on October the 10th, South Africa. Some of their old players have been training in the Fallout programme before that. And it's a test, it's a test at the end of a long season to actually apply yourself for a sustained period of time. And I think practicing in tournaments, you can't practice that away from tournament time. It's only during a tournament, and it's not like Super League where you go home to your beds every night and everyone is in their routines. It's different. So again, for a young group of people to actually have to apply themselves from October the 10th right through to November the 10th, final 11th, I think it is the 11th next week, actually test them as a group, and they're all different challenges for this group, and some of the seasoned people know how to do it, some of the young ones not quite sure how to do it, and again, we come away from next week having had a great preparation, understanding where we are physically, and mentally, probably more importantly, at the end of this tournament, because we're going to have to implement it and go even harder again next year.
Because obviously next week is the last game before World Cup year. We don't get to play a game again as a group for probably 7 months after this. It'll be probably June, won't it, by the time we get around to playing the Exiles in and around that area. So for this group, it needs to finish off in the correct manner, get the job done complete, move into World Cup Year 2013, like I said, with that warm glow, but understanding that there's a lot of hard work in front of us, and then we'll continue our programme. We will get together before that Exiles game on numerous occasions, but we won't actually get to play as a group again. On the Exiles, division maybe 3 and 3, but have you decided in your own mind how many of those games that you
No, it's yet to be decided yet.
Leroy Goodjoe enjoyed himself, Steve. Good to have that competition, isn't it?
Yeah. Leroy's got an amazing amount of talent, and he's gaining confidence. I think is the best way of describing it with the rest of the group. And again, I thought there was times today where we could have ran to score instead of passing to score. I think we were all guilty of that on occasion. So, but yeah, he's another extremely good athlete.
Are you tempted to make a few more changes today?
Say again, sorry.
Are you tempted to make a few more changes?
Oh, we'll assess it again properly afterwards, and if we feel we need to, then we'll need to. But again, being part of an international group is about sometimes dealing with disappointment. We've got 24 Super League players who start every week for their Super League clubs. So when you're not picked, it's quite alien to how you deal with some of that is important as well as to whether you can be part of the group moving forward. Because you can either be productive for the rest of the group or disruptive. Thankfully at the minute everyone's been productive, but it does test people. Just going back to Sam Tompkins, Sam was absolutely fine. He was always planned to play him for an hour on his first game back after his injury, so there's no dramas there at all.
Okay, guys.
Could you just one more, Kevin? Kevin, you captain huge successful club side. We've talked about Club England. Steve talked about Club England. You kind of notice club mentality starting to come to this team now.
I think club mentality has been in place now for about 18 months. I think JP had a big contribution to that. This is Steve and the coaching team and the backroom staff as well have been fantastic. But I think there's been a big buy-in from all the players. We've got some senior players missing, some injured lads, but the young lads who've come in have really embraced what this group's been about for the last 18 months, and it is a club for it. There's some challenges along the way for us, but it's been one of the most enjoyable camps I've been a part of. I think the work we did in South Africa was the hardest this group has trained since I've been around, and I really think we're making strides. It's all positive for me.
You're talking about Sinfield, and I mean, how important is it to win some silverware as well next week, as well as the Sinfield and Stars as well?
Yeah, it's huge. I think the group are ready for it. The group are ready for 2013, the World Cup year. I think we've been building nicely, but we've got a job to finish next week, and like Steve said, if we turn up next Sunday and we can come away with a good warm glow, having won a trophy together, having got some success for the country, I think we're on the right track. I really do think we're building nicely, and I know we can top 2012 off with a great performance next week, and send ourselves off into a bit of a